Hi folks, it's a nice frosty chilly morning here in the centre of the UK this morning. Now I know a number of people are waiting for an update on the Aku Pilgrim British Army temperate climate boots. So I thought I'd do a quick video now. I've covered over 500 kilometres in them to give you my impression of these boots. If you're watching this for the first time, you will be able to see another video on the channel. This gives you the unboxing and more explanation about the boots, but in brief, these are one of the two high liability combat boots for the British Army in temperate conditions, and they have other boots for the desert and jungle, etc. Just a bit of a disclaimer, obviously I'm not in the British Army, so I can't really comment on their use for that purpose. I'm just commenting on basically how I find them for day-to-day walking in the UK. I wouldn't even make Dad's Army these days, let alone the British Army. So I'll let somebody who is in the Army comment on how they feel about them. Okay, Aku, Italian company, and probably the viewers of the channel are probably too young to remember, but in the 60s and the 70s there used to be westerns, cowboy films made in Italy, which had the nickname spaghetti westerns. I'm more of a fan of the ones made in America, but they were very popular, and one of the most popular was The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. The good was Clint Eastwood, the bad was Lee Van Cleef, and the ugly was Eli Wallace, and they were all fine actors in their own way. And that's how I feel about these boots a little bit: the good, the bad and the ugly. So let me cover those points for you. Let's start with the good, because it's always good to start with a positive rather than a negative, isn't it? So what's good about these boots? Well, they're very comfortable. Straight out the box, you can use them on fairly long walks, and they are a very comfortable boot. They're fairly lightweight, particularly for a combat boot. So yeah, no issues on the comfort. I'm actually a 9 UK size 9 wide. When I got these, they're actually a 9 medium. I didn't really have much of a choice there, but I've still found them to be okay. They were still big enough for me, even on a 9 medium. Another good point about this is the lacing system. They have this quite simple lacing system of just through the leather loops there, and then these simple D-rings, and they work very well. It's very quick to fasten the boot and very quick to unfasten the boot, so I think that's quite a good system. They do seem to be well made on the stitching, etc. Now these boots are made, I understand, in the Aku factory in Romania, and somebody commented that that might not be the same quality, but let's just cover that point, because manufacturers of many products, not just boots, of course, as we know, especially European or American manufacturers, have production in other parts of the world, maybe Asia, etc. And the reason behind that is, even if you're using the same materials, your labour costs are going to be a lot lower, therefore your production costs, therefore either you're increasing your profits or you've been more competitive, or both. So that they're made in Romanian factory of Aku doesn't mean they're of poor quality. Hikes make boots in Croatia, Altberg have a factory in Italy, Ituri, apart from Spain, have a factory in Morocco. So the American manufacturers have manufacturing in various parts of Asia, and that's, you know, that's normal, and as long as the quality controls are kept, there's no issues with that, particularly when they're a factory owned by the specific manufacturer. They can import all the raw materials the same, you're just reducing the production costs because your labour is reduced. So just made that a point in case from my further comments people think these are sort of substandard because they're made in Romania. I don't think they are. As I say, from a from a stitching point of view and how they're made, they're pretty good. So that's what's good about them. What about wear? Yeah, it's been okay. I mean, it's done 500 kilometers plus. There's some wear, obviously, particularly on the heel now, where I wear boots a lot, but no more than probably other boots. The heel's particularly wearing down, so I'll have to see how much further they can go. There's the other one again. The main sole's not too bad. Okay, so what's bad about these boots? Well, again, let's take a step back. No matter where you are in the world watching this video, the number one thing you need from a boot is fit. It has to fit you. Otherwise, you're never going to be happy with it. Now, if it's on the large size, you can perhaps do something about that by wearing extra thick socks, or as they do in the Nordic countries like Sweden, Norway, wear 2 pairs of socks. If it's too small, there's nothing you can do, is there, really? You just have to move on. So fit's number one. Comfort's number two. Why I say number two? Well, because comfort sometimes on an older boot can take a while for it to be comfortable. You might have an old style boot like the M59 Swedish boot. It takes a lot of breaking in, but once you've done that, it can be comfortable for you individually. So fit, comfort, wherever you are in the world, and depending on where you are in the world, you might want different conditions. If you're in an arid country, where I'll be next week, I'll be back out in the Middle East, and I'll be reviewing the hike, an update on the hike desert boot. Then obviously if you're living in an arid part of the world with deserts and you want a different type of boot to if you're in a temperate climate country like the UK. And if you're in a place like the UK, you definitely want them to be waterproof because of the amount of rain we get. And I've just found with these boots, they're just not waterproof. What I've found is that yes, they can take light rain, but anything moderate to heavy, and they just leak. The suede just soaks up the water, and then you've got this nylon type material, fabric type material, and the lining, even though it's Gore-Tex, does not hold it back. It does not work on these boots. Now maybe I've got a bad pair, I don't know, but I have seen other people comment on that same thing. So I find that in any sort of heavy rain, or even I've been out where it's rained the day before, it's not been raining a specific day, but the grass has still been wet. After walking through wet grass for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I've got wet feet. Now, it's not a disaster for me because, as I say, most of my walks are day walks, so I can come back, dry off, swap them out, and carry on the next day with a different pair of boots. But if I was on a multi-day walking tour, then I would not be very happy, I don't think. And once they are wet, they do take some drying. Not the first pair of boots I've had that problem with. Before I started the channel some years ago, I bought a pair of Timberland boots, ankle boots, for walking in South Africa, in the Drakensberg and on the Veldt, and I had the same problem there, even though it wasn't raining. With the early morning dew, after an hour or so the boots would be wet inside, and I was probably going on 5-6 hour walks, so that wasn't too great. What I have done, and I should have brought it out with me, is I bought some, Akku actually have their own spray-on material, spray-on waterproofing agent, which they have a video on that on YouTube, but I don't think it's available in the UK. I haven't seen it available, but I've been to the Mountain Warehouse and bought their suede proofer, nubuck leather proofer spray-on. Used that. I haven't really seen that much difference by using that, to be honest. Perhaps a little, but not a great difference. So for me now, if I know the weather's going to be really bad, Actually, I won't be using these. Last weekend we had some torrential rain here in the UK. I was out walking and I didn't take these. I took a pair of leather boots which were completely dry by the end of the day. So that's what I find is you know, the good, the bad. So what's the ugly? Well, not the boot. I think I said in my first video, when they're new, they're a classy looking boot. You know, you could walk into a 5-star hotel in Dubai with them on, depending on what else you're wearing, of course, and they'd still be okay. So from a stylish point of view, I think they're good, particularly when they're new. Obviously these have been through the mud a bit and cleaned up as best I can. No, price is the ugly bit for me, because I got these for £90, which was a low price. Hence somebody mentioned that, well, you got them from Romanian factory, you know, what do you expect? As I said, I think they make this range in their Romanian factory. And as I mentioned, Hikes make their military boots in Croatia, for example. So I don't think it's because they're made in Romania. This particular company was selling some off, but I've seen these advertised for £170, £140. Now that's a very high price to pay for a military surplus boot, when you can get a very decent boot in the UK, like the Defender boot from Altberg, for £50, £60. Okay, these were new out the box, so I'm paying for a brand new boot, and obviously £90 is a lot better than paying £170. So the only ugly part to me is the return on the investment. I don't think that matches the full price, the full price, if you're paying that for these boots. Okay folks, that's my honest review. I think they also make these boots without the Gore-Tex lining as a desert boot, and they'd be ideal for that because their other features are good. So without the Gore-Tex lining, I mean, these boots to me would be fine in perhaps Mediterranean places like Cyprus and Spain perhaps, where yeah, you might get some rain, but you're not going to get the sort of winter conditions we get in the UK. So in certain situations these would be fine, and as I say, they are very comfortable. It's just the waterproofing aspect is my doubts about these boots. Anyway, that's it for now. Take care out there, and I hope to come back in the near future with some more updates, as my original plan was to review a pair of boots when I bought them, and then walk 1,000 kilometers and review them. I've cut that down to 500 because I think that's long enough to establish how they are in terms of, you know, wear, practicality, waterproofing, comfort, etc. So I've got a few more boots that either have come up to that shortly or have exceeded that, so I hope to bring you some more updates on some of my other boots in the near future. Take care out there.